Hello, hello. Welcome once again to the OHmazing Podcast. If my listeners and subscribers have been here before, you will see that we have recently adjusted it. So we've gone from Amazing Entrepreneurs to the OHmazing Podcast. And I'm here with my co-host here, JD, Jonathan Danielle. What are you going to go by on this?
I'm going to go by JD.
Okay.
You almost forget my name?
Well, I mean, I know your name. It's just, it's Jonathan Daniele or JD or Jonathan. I mean, it really depends on if it's
Depends on the person.
how deep in trouble you are, right?
If you're calling me Jonathan, it means that's what my wife calls me. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I'm in trouble.
Right. So, but you're a man who's done a little bit of video work here recently. So, by the way, guys, I'm owner operator of OHmazing.com. We do managed IT services, a whole bunch of stuff. And here on a couple joint ventures here, obviously we're doing a podcast together. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit, because I want to get in depth to it, but like what do you currently do? A little bit about, JD.
What do I currently do? So I own LFG Media Group, which is a digital marketing company, and we can pretty much do most kinds of marketing, but our specialties lie in PPC. Which is Google Ads primarily, and social media management as well. And as Mike's mentioned, we have started a joint venture where we've opened up our marketing services to go after B2B prospecting, so cold outreach to companies,
right,
and all that good stuff.
Right.
A whole different world. It's been fun. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, and for our listeners, and you're powering this up, and you're thinking, what am I here? Our tagline is just empowering your bottom line, one episode at a time. So we are very much in the business of growing our business, right?
We've made a lot of mistakes, and you don't have to make them.
Right.
Hopefully, by listening to us yammer on about the mistakes we've made, hopefully you can avoid you guys from making them and maybe save you the money that we lost.
Right. And also some tips and tricks that we kind of, picked up across the way is, my goal is, I am a big proponent of show people what you guys do, because, recreating that isn't always the easiest thing to do. So,
Amen.
And since we are B2B, we're consulting companies, both of us. If we share some knowledge and experience and people are happy to leverage, you can feel free to leverage it or give us a call, and we're more than happy to talk to you. But bottom line, we want to increase your bottom line, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
That's what it's all about. I mean, everybody's in business to make money.
Right.
And hopefully be happy and enjoy it while you're doing it. So.
Right. Well, so how long you been in the space? LFG Media Group. How long have you been in your current? Well, I know you guys say you do marketing and you have specialties that you guys work on, but how long have you guys been in business? How is your your trajectory? And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
All good questions. I've been in the marketing space, over 10 years now. I really come from a call center background where, my early 20s, 21, 22 years old, started off managing a call center that, I was basically way in over my head. I had no business being a manager.
Right.
But I figured it out and did that for a while. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to manage call centers anymore. I want to be the guy that makes the phones ring. So I learned marketing. And a lot of that started off with just flipping leads, brokering leads in different industries. And I had some good partners in that, and they were very good at generating the calls. And they really kind of like showed me the ropes. And then after that, we all went our separate ways. No bad blood or anything like that, but we just all did our own thing. And I ended up learning PPC, just basically was like, this is what I want to do,
Right.
So, LFG Media Group itself, I mean, I've always had employers up until about 2 years ago where I was always exclusively with one employer. And then a couple of years ago, I went out on my own and I've built LFG Media Group. And 2 years in, revenue's good. We're over 2.2 million now, which is awesome.
Incredible.
And it's been a hell of a ride.
And if people listening to this, I don't know where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey, but I told, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to work with you is because A, he's one of my best friends, but B, $2.2 million in 2 years, statistically is a phenomenon. If you're listening to this, and chances are, I'm not sure how big your business is, but if you look at the small, the SBA statistics, right? You're looking at 96% of businesses never make over $1 million ever. So to do double that, well, I mean, in revenue. So to do double that in, just over 2 years is, that's a moonshot in a consulting business that is like, you need to be good because the competition out there is fierce because,
especially in marketing.
Yeah, I mean, you're just a marketing agency, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, we're a sales agency that happens to provide marketing services.
Right.
I mean, it's really...
That's the way I look at my... Yeah.
I mean, we're very good at marketing, or at least I like to think we are. Our clients stick around. We have very low turnover, but I'm investing heavily in the business now on the sales side of it.
Okay.
Bringing on sales beasts that we're going to be leveraging the B2B prospecting system that you and I have built.
Right.
And that's going to be my primary focus. You said, where do I want to be in 5 years? 5 years, I want the company to be 10 million or more is my goal. Really just want to double revenue over the next 2 years and just keep doing that until get to 10 million or more and then potentially exit.
Yeah. And you're looking at, a percent of a point over 10 mil. Right. So, and in reality, there's, if you talk to, and just my experience, like kind of being in and around the technology, I own a managed services company, right? And so people, like, it's similar to what you do for marketing, we do for IT. So people would outsource IT to us. So what's the pitch for us is I talk to business owners that have started a business and are looking to grow their business because it's a key differentiator, right? So like who are you not a good fit for? People who don't necessarily want to grow their business.
Which I would imagine most people want to grow their business. Problem with marketing, or I shouldn't say a problem with marketing, the problems that the mindset that I've encountered trying to build the business is companies look at marketing as an expense. And it's an expense, but it should be looked at as a growth expense or the cost of growth, and if you're like really LFG up until this point has been built on word of mouth.
Right.
It's just been relationships that I've had that I've leveraged, and I've gotten to a point where it's like crawling in growth now. And, it's time to, I've done some marketing and that's obviously paid off. And, I don't look at it. I look at it as like, how can I make sure that there's money in the account so that I can use that for marketing? And that's why I'm about to invest heavily in sales.
Right.
I'm bringing on 2 sales beasts that one of them's in England and he's long time cold caller. And then there's another guy who's from Tennessee, your home state.
Yeah.
Got that southern twang. So I got the English accent and southern twang dialing. And hopefully they get hung up on less than I do.
Right. Well, because I think there's, I think let's start, at the top, I was at the top, like in regards to marketing, and I'm going to get back to my business here.
I was about to say, we should talk about me the whole time.
Well, no, I mean, I think you brought on a good point and a nice segue because I do want to circle back in regards to, what's a good product for, or who's good, is someone who wants to grow their business because sometimes people don't. Some people like having the 20-person thing or 20-person business. They like having the single site. If they grow more, they're going to have to either let go of certain things and delegate that they're not comfortable delegating.
I get that.
Right?
It's tough.
And in order to grow, you have to become comfortable in delegating stuff that you aren't comfortable delegating or building out the process.
That's where I'm at right now.
And it's and it takes some, you don't get there overnight because the reality what I found is like when I delegate hoping the person's going to deliver at 70% of the clip that I'm going to deliver at. And that's it, and ultimately once they're doing it day in and day out, I'm hoping they get that 70% up to over 100% because they better be the best damn person at that specific role that they're doing. Otherwise, I have the wrong person.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
You have the wrong person in the wrong seat, you know?
Yeah. For me, delegating the PPC side of it, I've got someone who works with me now who he's not he's not super knowledgeable of PPC yet, but I'm putting him through the same training that I went through. I didn't go to school for this stuff. I very simply just took a course online and then just started playing, with Google Ads.
Right.
And he's capable. It's just scary to delegate the one thing that I know that I'm really good at, and so much of our business, relies on.
Right.
But it's like one of those things, like you were saying, like if you're going to grow past if I'm going to grow past where I'm at right now, I have to give it up.
Right. And I think it's important, and
you've helped me realize that though, because you're like, dude, you gotta delegate. I'm like, oh, no way.
Yeah.
But it's not happening.
Well, it's one of the pieces that I've learned both from growing my own business and working with other people who are looking to grow their business is we have to it's a big process. And I say process, and it starts with the process. It starts with a plan. Before you can start doing all these things, yeah, you can do it. I don't care if you can do it once. I care if you can do it repeatedly and measure the results to get it better, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And in order to do that, it takes some time and some conscious effort to document and then update that,
Thank God you do that stuff too, because
Right.
that is like, I hate that whole standard operating procedure. Like you're great at it, which is amazing for the business you and I are building together, because I'm more of a fly by night sales guy, like I'll just figure it out and do it, and then I'll tell somebody about it later on. You're more like, document it. It's here. You can actually hand over a playbook, which is your way is way smarter when it comes to that.
Well, I would also say that, like, on the flip side of it, there is some value in being flexible, and there's some flexibility that leads to money hitting the bank account, which is ultimately the idea. And to partner with what makes a good partner?
Someone that's the complete opposite of you.
At least doesn't bring the same thing to the table, right?
True.
Because like if you were a carbon copy of me, then, or if I was a carbon copy of you, then we wouldn't really need each other.
Be two pricks running the show,
bro. Unbelievable.
Either way, you toss it.
It's the delegation is very hard, and some people just never get there. And that's fine. They're comfortable with where they want. Some people want a solopreneur. Some people want just a hey, I own a job, or hey, I own a private equity firms call them lifestyle businesses, right? So if you, what it was a lifestyle business, I'm not a private equity guy, but basically if you leave the organization dies. It's not worth much.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have something that it's like, hey, I can repeatedly do it and not be involved at all, then you have you have an asset that you can sell.
Packageable.
Yeah. Yep. And so, it really, that correlates to your revenue goals, right? So most organizations, depending on the industry or what exactly they do, good organizations, start at, they hit a 3 to 10, depending on what you're actually doing, but you start hitting a barrier. In order to get past that 10, these are the type of things that, you need to start having conversations about, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's like the office you and I are getting.
Right.
That's a nut. That's a nut that to me is scary. Right. Anytime I got to put out money like that, it makes me nervous. Especially early on in business is still a baby right now. Right. But I know without a doubt that that's going to make us a lot more productive. Right. It'll make me more productive. I'll be able to, the whole work from home thing was cool for a while with COVID. Yeah. It's really hard to run a good team through Zoom or Google Meet or whatever the heck you use. It is. I have two people that work for me now, Jason and Miranda, who are amazing. Right. Like they don't need oversight. I don't need to micromanage them. They're about it. Right. They're team LFG, and they're on the bus, which is great. Right. But that's really hard to find. And right. If I'm bringing in, I want to grow the sales team. I mean, granted, the guy in England, it's a long commute. I don't think he's going to be making that every morning. Right. But everywhere we grow, like when I bring on PPC people, when we bring on people for our business, I want to walk in the office and I want to see them every day.
Gotcha. And so let's talk. Let's define our bit, because we've been talking about our business and something just for the listeners, right? And we'll drop a link in the show notes. But what is our business? Tell
What, OHmazing Revenue?
Yeah.
Well, OHmazing Revenue kind of was born by accident.
Right.
I mean, really, Mike and I took on a contract with a company in Atlanta to be their sales team, big Salesforce partner. Big Salesforce partner that wants to grow their managed services side of the business. And, I originally pitched them on, your standard digital marketing, and they said, no, we want to try something different. And so the whole B2B prospecting was born, but they were supposed to have a prospecting piece in place for us. And really, it was just supposed to be him and I getting warm leads, do discovery calls, basically warm them up, close them, get the contract signed and sent over to delivery. And then they handle all from there.
Right.
So that whole prospecting piece fell apart on their side, and we were just like, well, Mike kind of had an idea, and then Mike just built this freaking beast of a prospecting machine, which has been super impressive to see you like pull that whole thing off.
Appreciate it, man.
I mean, if it wasn't for you, I would probably, that contract would be over.
Well, I mean,
it still might be.
I'm
just kidding.
I mean, because I think we use the term sales, and we've used the term marketing, and we've used the term revenue. And I think there's a lot of confusion there, at least for me, what the difference is between some of those things and how they're very clearly distinct things. And so I'll tell you what I think about it, because, as opposed to me asking all the questions, right? So
I was about to ask you. You haven't let me talk.
Okay, go for it.
No. What do you think about the business we're building? Cool story. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was kind of the reason why I was enlightened by it is because it feeds my current business, right?
Yeah.
And so one of my challenges as we're a managed service provider, so that means we do technology for the small to mid-market businesses, right? So we target directly 25 to 500 employees, right? So we're a really good fit for people who need to outsource technology, an IT department, so we can do either some of the department, everything from basic help desk to deploying to, application updates, servers, mailboxes, stuff like that, basic IT stuff, right?
Yep.
To co-managed, which co-managed means, hey, I've got a small part of a team. Maybe I have in marketing, it'd be like, maybe I have an SEO guy and I don't have anybody to do the PPC. Like sometimes we have a client that wants us to do third shift. So they are a 24/7 shop, but they don't want to staff the third shift. So we're engaged, but it's at it's not a fully engaged, right? And then we have a fractional where it's basically leadership. So
like staff augmentation kind of?
Yeah, well, it's more in the staff augmentation because it's leadership. So if you are reporting to a board, you have private equity, you need budgeting, you need some sort of planning, it's really good. Like the most important part, and I would say from because marketing, IT, finance, all these core business units within an organization or a healthy organization as you grow, to me, a CEO's job is to have a vision, right? And to communicate that vision.
Yeah.
And as leadership from a technology standpoint, like from a marketing standpoint, I want to get to, 10 million in 5 years. Okay. And, we would need a little bit more expounding on the vision. And I'm sure you would give me a little bit more, but that's like a revenue goal.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, my job is to make sure that you guys have the technology to see that vision, to have it delivered, right? And all these aspects of an organization, your marketing, your HR, all these things require that you have somebody in place that has the knowledge and the wherewithal to help you deliver. Because, to me, I hear great ideas all the time. I don't give a shit about your idea. I care about your ability to deliver on it, right? because there's a ton of ideas out there. I don't care about your NDA, you know, because like, I don't, like, if you can't deliver it, that's why whenever we come here and we talk about like, what are we doing? Like, I'm fine telling them, you want the sauce? I'll tell you what, you know, what we're doing here. Deliver on it. Deliver on it at a high level. And because if it was easy to do, everybody would be doing it. But I can tell you, not everybody's doing the things that they need to do in order to be successful or to separate yourself from the competition, right?
It's hard.
But
it's hard day in and day out to get that stuff done.
Right.
Some people are about it, some aren't.
You know, and not just, you know, it's the flexibility, the willing to delegate, the letting go, you know, that's all these things that, you know, so some people like just need the, you know, hey, I have a core team, but I'm not sure if we have the leadership that can see it through to make sure that like, I know that and so it depends on what level. So we market directly to those people, but that's we're a sale, you know, and when I first started, I was an IT guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're a marketing guy.
Yeah.
You know,
I used to be.
And now I view myself as we're a sales company. Our product is technology.
Yep.
And I'm excited about Amazing Revenue because there's two types of, well, there's like few different types of marketing. There's a branding, there's you know, and I've kind of reinvented myself to be like, because marketing, everybody has their strengths and ownership, right?
Yep.
One of my weaknesses was definitely marketing. And I wouldn't call it a weakness anymore because like I know enough, or I've learned enough to kind of reinvent myself to be like, I'm not going to lose by that.
You became a marketing guy at LeadsCon.
Right.
Your whole life changed.
Right.
Everything. You walked into LeadsCon, you're like, I'm a marketer now.
Right.
And I might know a little bit about development.
Right.
And I could put a server in somewhere.
Well, that's honestly my...
I'm not trying to downplay what you do, by the way.
No. Well, I mean, I think that's like what gives me a competitive edge, you know, because it's like I can take the technology backbone that I have, and marketing to me is all about getting my sales team in the position to have the ability to sell. You can have the best damn sales team in the world, but what if they have nothing to sell?
Right. Or a process to go by.
Right. Or you can be the best, most amazing and I know you know this, but we've talked about this, you know,
at length.
You know, hey, what's frustrating? Like, what's frustrating as a marketer whenever you sell or not sell, generate leads for you put in all this work and you generate it.
The leads suck. That's what you hear. Like, the leads suck. Okay, let me listen to your team. Oh, yeah, you guys missed 40% of the calls, and yeah, your sales rep hung up on 10% of the calls.
They missed 40% of the leads.
I'm just
but I'm just saying.
But it's happened where they're like, yeah, the leads are terrible. Like, well, you're not answering the calls, you know. And like, and how come I have 7 clients, same line of business, and everybody's doing good but you? You know, if everybody's doing bad, and that happens, you know, that's just like an industry thing.
Yeah.
And I'll see all of my clients struggling, and I'm like, okay, so I know it's a marketing issue.
Right.
And maybe I can do something about it at that time. Maybe I can't. But sometimes it's so frustrating. Like, I have one client who they're a great business. Just their sales team is just not good, and they blow a lot of leads. And
it's a weakness. We all have our weaknesses.
And they're a big client of mine.
Right.
Yeah, it's sometimes I just wish I could take over the sales process.
Right. And I think that's what, you know, gets me going too, because like we had those conversations, because it's one thing to say that the leads up. Well, do they? Let's look at, you know, because as an owner, and I know you care, so it's like, let's
I take it personal.
Well,
which I shouldn't take it personal, but I do.
Well,
I'm like, I want to deliver the best product.
Right. Well, a good owner or a good agency to me is going to be like, the leads are bad. Well, let me see what's actually going on. Are my leads good, or they get defensive? No, my leads don't. You know, like, you know.
That's been me before.
Right.
Like I do it at first. I do get defensive at first in my mind.
Right.
I'm like, whoa.
Well, that's fine. You can do it in your mind, but it's like, well, let me look. You know, are we doing what we say we were going to do? Right.
Yep.
And if you're doing the same exact, because this goes back to process, right? So you have you say you're not a process person, but
it's in my head though. I don't write it out like you do.
Yeah, but you have a process. You know, you have
Actually, I do have. It's so Fred Flintstone, but it's like on a notepad.
You have a checklist?
Yeah, of course.
There's a book called The Checklist Manifesto. And I, a big reader, but so It's a fantastic book you should read. But you know why they do pre-flight checklists? Because it
Do they want
drops
to crash the plane?
the statistics up. Well, no. It's just amazing how effective a checklist, because it doesn't matter how good, and they've done statistics on like, it doesn't matter how educated you are. For instance, pre-surgery checklist, the rate of infection dropped by double digits by just doing, hey, the patient is Jonathan Daniele. We're currently doing, the time is this, that, we're
We're
doing.
removing the left arm, not the right arm.
Right, but
Stuff like that.
no, but it's definitely worth a read, and it's an indictment of checklist, or really just a series of instructions or processes that you can, because the biggest thing about process for me is like you get the ability to measure
Yeah, like where something goes wrong in the process.
or how you can improve it.
Exactly. Well, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But you yourself have a series of process that you go through.
Yeah.
So you
just made it. You did it a little more professional than me.
right.
Mine's on a notepad on my phone.
I'm
I'm like this on the computer. Like,
Well, you're also not you're not an IT guy. This is the same guy that struggled with Microsoft Teams for 2 years.
I still struggle with it.
Uh,
I hate it.
it's
I'm a Google guy.
yeah, no, I love me a Google Meet. Jeez.
It's way better than that Teams crap.
Oh yeah, it's just phenomenal. It's
That'll
phenomenal.
be an episode for another time. Microsoft versus Google.
You know what? I think that's one of the it kind of jumps into what I think. What are somebody listening? What do you think would be some good episodes for like on a, because we're going to be releasing episodes weekly, right?
Sure.
What
Sounds good.
what can we expect in regards to topics?
I mean, I think some of the things we could talk about is the journey with growing the B2B business together,
Right.
which I think will be fun. I mean, it'll be fun for us to talk about. Hopefully
Right.
people will find it interesting to listen to, but the marrying of two different skill sets,
Right.
coming together, which could be I'm very confident that's going to be successful, and we'll have plenty to talk about. We'll have adversity. We'll have things to laugh about. We'll have success. I'm sure we'll have our failures too.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, very different ways of doing things. We're similar in how we work, but we do things differently. I think it'd be cool to talk about, like, you're a Microsoft guy, I'm a Google guy, what the advantages are.
I mean, I think there's a ton of options out there, because like a productivity suite, it's literally split down the middle depending on where you're at in the world. Half is Google, half is
it's
Microsoft.
crazy.
And the problem with that, I love being a Microsoft guy. They pay us a lot of money. I'm comfortable with the suite. I like the feature set. But the downside to it is I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
And there is a very viable option out there that I just don't have a whole lot of experience with, that I'm unaware of, that could benefit my business. And as an owner, I give a shit about stuff like that, right? Or I should.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Google guy just because Google Ads, Google Docs.
You're a marketer. That's why
It all ties together. Google Search Console, Google Analytics. It's just, for me, it's like Apple. Like, I have an Apple phone. I feel like I'll never gonna not be an Apple person, because I would have to switch over so many things.
Right. Well, they get you in the ecosystem, which is a business model in itself. And maybe we talk about that. Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking, because I like the comparison between the two, this is a podcast focused about generating revenue. So like, how can we leverage our skill set in our own industry on a month-to-month basis? So I think we're going to have something more hard lined out. We have our website coming out as well. So we're going to have some information in regards to the, specific episodic, like what you can expect in the future. If you are a business owner where you are very good at the business itself, right? And you're a service-based, say you own a plumbing, you have a plumbing company, right? So this is going to be relevant for you if you're really good at managing a team and really good at, large construction projects or residential work or something like that, but you're not really good at marketing or branding or technology. This is we're talking to people like you, because this is where I have my weaknesses. You have.
I have mine. Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing hopefully about this podcast, is that it's really anybody that's in business they can hopefully relate to it. You know,
Right.
small to medium, maybe the Steve Jobs type people, they're not going to be listening to us.
No, they
But-
want to hire us.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean,
Steve Jobs can't, but
you
too soon.
wait, we have what? This was like a family first podcast,
Yeah.
and now we're getting.
That wasn't a
into-
shot though, but that was just me, being insensitive.
Yeah,
So
sorry, too soon.
that too soon.
Too,
So long ago.
no,
So yeah, I mean, I think like part of this podcast too is we can talk about things like marketing in an episode. We can talk about sales, different processes, whether it's what we've seen. Like for instance, like when we went to LeadsCon, there's a lot of the
just save that for. Yeah, because guys, by the way, behind the scenes, if you want to know how the podcasts work, is you kind of go in an episode, and so we have a finite amount of time, so we actually record not one but 2 episodes every other week. So we are going to be recording one specifically. If you're wanting to listen, it's a promo for the next episode. LeadsCon 101, baby, right?
how to conquer it.
Right, and the experience there, and some of the things that we learned and saw there that was interesting, and some of the things that we could, not, because I think everybody kind of gets sucked into these trade shows that we have to go to.
Yeah, so many of them, and this is just my opinion, so many of them are, they're all about making money for the promoters or the people that are putting the events on.
Right.
But some of them you actually get really good information from. LeadsCon is, if you're looking for leads and to generate, leads for your business, it's a good one to go to.
Right.
'Cause it's actually good information.
Right.
So.
So I one of my weaknesses, I can go off on a tangent, but I was talking about marketing for myself, and how it's different. We start talking about like, hey, it's not fair if you're generating the same leads to the same person or to 2 different companies the same way, and one closes 10 points higher than the other, and then they come and tell you the leads suck.
Yeah.
And he's not going to tell me. I've always said this example to him. I was like, no, your leads don't suck. You suck at selling them. And but if you say, I'm a big proponent of like, if you want to do business with me, or or if I'm talking like I believe in talking to the person in a very direct way, so that way, it's like a CEO, if they're good at it, and they care about their bottom line.
Yeah. And
Right.
the CEOs or C-suite, people, they're the best to talk to at any business.
Right.
Because they're not trying to impress anybody. They're at the top already.
Yeah.
And they're usually, at least, so far, knock on wood, those have been for me the best people to deal with, because they get it.
Yeah.
And they want their business to succeed more than anybody that's sitting in any seat in their business.
That's why they're talking to you, because as a consultant, you better be the best damn person in the world, at that given point in time to help their business, because you really are selling you.
Yeah.
Your product, your process, you and your vision of their business, right?
Don't bullshit them.
And why they need it, right? So like if they're like, hey, the leads are bad, because sometimes you get that from like somebody who may be running the call center and being like, well, why, we're spending X amount of money on LFG. Why are you guys not closing them? Well, the leads that we're getting back are just not qualified. Have you heard that one lately?
No, never.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
It's not qualified, right? Isn't it? We aren't a good fit for it.
Yeah. I hear things, like, oh yeah, all the insurance policies are bad. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Okay.
That's interesting. It was one of the niches I'm in is the rehab space, behavioral health, and I love that. When I hear that one, I'm like, oh, that's funny. I just listened to a call and they have benefits, but they just told your person that they don't want to leave the state. They want to stay local, and they basically let them off the phone. Leads are bad though.
Yeah, and it's one of those.
Sometimes they are bad leads though. At the same time.
And there's I think there's a you get some level of, it's in these statistics, right? There's some level of deviation that you can apply there, but you throw enough at it and you get enough numbers at it, eventually, it shakes out. And if you're a good C-suite, if you're especially if you it impacts your revenue, and you're responsible for, as the company, you are responsible for your revenue.
Yeah.
It's not somebody else's fault. You may have delegated it, but at the end of the day,
nobody's going to do it for you.
nobody's. You gotta have something that you gotta give them give them something to start with, a baseline, and then measure up against it. And if they aren't hitting it, figure out what's wrong in your process as to why you're not being able to convert it as much as your competition down the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the healthcare niche for me too has been, I've done it for so long that I didn't have the process, as you say,
Right.
On the marketing side of it. So I'm usually able to quickly, point out, what the sales team can do better.
Right.
And I know if marketing's failing or falling short, I know exactly what to do to correct it.
Right.
So.
And it's funny you bring it up. So the reason why, and it's like such an interesting way that, our organization started working together, because we basically buy what we sell from ourselves, and it supplements our original business. But one of the reasons why I wouldn't say I would say I'm adequate at sales. I'm confident there's people out there that are better than me at it. But what I am good at, or what, it's something that our firm actually does, is process deployment. And so what is process deployment? Usually, a lot of times, the easiest way to look at it is at your CRM, right? Almost any organization that's of any sort of set size has some sort of CRM in which drives forth your prospect, from either cold or warm to sold. And then we help implement, and everybody always thinks, and we do the deployments, we talk to the customization and like say, hey, okay, you want to deploy a CRM. Cool. What's your sales process like? Well, we just kind of do this and we kind of do that, and there's nothing really set in stone. From a revenue generating standpoint. You have nothing to improve upon.
Yeah.
You have nothing to improve upon because you have nothing in place to change. And if you have nothing to measure against, you have no way to level it up. And so when you go to somebody, it's like, and you're generating these leads and you give them to them and they're like, I'm not closing it I'm closing it 10 points lower, but that, but they're like, oh, these leads suck.
Yeah.
And they have no sales. There's no rhyme or reason as to how they go about the process, be it the rehab space or you're selling a car or, it doesn't matter. Selling a car, people are like, oh, it's too complex. No, it's not. Person comes on the lot. You ask them, hey, do you want to, what's your budget? What are you looking for?
Slap the hood of the car. What's it going to take to get you in this thing
today? Yeah. Well, so when you buy a car, like let's talk about it. So like when you buy a car, what usually happens when you go on the lot? What do they ask you?
I usually call first.
No. Just say, let's start. Well, okay. Well, you can call first. That's
I try
fine.
to negotiate as much, or not even negotiate. I try to get as much done as I can over the phone.
Well, here's the thing.
They want to know your credit.
But here's the thing. No. But we already skipped a step, and maybe this is pre-done. But like, you figure out what type of car you want to buy from the dealership, right? Because you go to the dealership, they have different types. We want a truck or an SUV or a car or whatever, right? But say, I know you're a little bit more. You kind of skip yourself ahead into the sales process because you know what you want. But if you don't know what you want, you're just stumbling onto a lot. First things first is you figure out what type of car is going to be a good fit for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then what do they usually do? Hey, let's give it a spin. Right?
It's like a used car lot. Yeah.
Well, no, you're like, hey,
take it home for the night. They don't do anymore.
No.
They used to do that back in the day. Yeah, just take it home.
Well,
Think about it.
Tesla still does that, or they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's because they have to repo them all. Like,
oh, bro, what a hater.
Yeah, I mean, nice trucks.
Yeah.
We're going to need them all back.
He's just mad he missed out
I
buying
shouldn't be talking crap on Elon Musk.
Yeah, bro, the greatest entrepreneur of our lifetime. Maybe.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
I mean, say what you want to about Elon, but
I'm not saying anything bad about him.
but I mean, some people probably roll their eyes when I said that. But like, say what you want to about the guy, but the guy makes decisions and does it, and he may fail, he may mess it up, but like he's
a beast.
He impacts, man.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And it takes, it doesn't matter where you start. He's been effective for a long time. So if he's not the most effective entrepreneur of our lifetime, then he's definitely in the top 30. So I mean, we're talking.
He's like one of the top 10 richest in the world, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're looking, you know, be like, hey man, that guy's a model of success. What is it, dollars or whatever? You know, I don't know what your standard to measure. No matter what you do, he's got to be in your top 30, even if you don't like the guy.
I mean, SpaceX alone, like, what a pivot!
Bro.
Like, what a freaking pivot that was.
Yeah,
I love that move.
Right. I mean,
it's like, you know what, cars are cool, but have you ever built a rocket? I'm going to do that next.
Well,
And
that's
better yet. That thing's going to land itself.
bro. Amazing, amazing. But
sorry, Elon. I know you're not listening, but you're a beast. I didn't mean to say anything bad about your product.
no,
Please forgive me.
yeah, but you know, it's so, you know, what goes into the, you know, the process is, you know, hey, they give you a test drive, right? And then you come back and they say, well, what do you think? Yeah, I think I like it.
What a
Well,
horrible question, by the way, as for a salesperson to ask.
that's why I'm not. That's
How
why.
do you feel about that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm an adequate salesperson, but I'm a big process guy, right? So they came on the lot. We asked them to make a decision on the type. Maybe that's stage 1. We give them a test drive, test stage 2, so I can measure, like, hey, why did you not get that person to test drive? Because, like, there's got to be a statistics on it, like the person, if they test drive a car, they're X amount % more likely to close.
Where you're going with this?
Right? And then the third step is, like, we get back and we're like, hey, that was fantastic.
Credit time.
Credit time. Let's go run our credit, because that's our next big barrier, right?
Yep.
We know what they want. Then now they want it. Now we're going to see if what they're eligible for.
Yep.
Right? And then the final stage is, you know, we come to terms after the fact. I try to get, you know, we try to fleece the crap out of them, right?
Yep.
And
Upsells come.
that's where the upsells
Need that
come,
tire package.
right? And then we have a conversion, but at each
That air. They literally sell air now. Sorry, just go ahead.
yeah, well,
We're going to need that nitrogen air.
bro, we have
1,000 extra.
No, we have the nitro fill. Like, we worked with them as a client. They're nice guys. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, they're
Good for them. They're selling air. I love it.
It's not air.
Whatever,
It's
dude.
oxygen.
It's air is oxygen. There's oxygen in the air.
They're selling. It's nitro.
Hey, man,
nitrogen.
I
I'm
think-
just telling you, it's not air.
You can call it what you want.
All right, but it's like, all right, but
I'm not going to yield on it. So
no, all right. But in any case, in the sales process, right, we have, you know, your marketing coming in, and then we have different levels in which you can measure it on. And a lot of the company, we do those deployments. So I get an opportunity to learn about that. So the fact that me and you can, like, marry, to me, revenue is the entire process from having no money come in to money now in, right? And that includes marketing and sales. And to me, I mean, that's where you really want to be in regards to, you know, an organization, especially from the small to mid market. We're looking to get over that, get to that 10 mil, right? Or get to the 2 mil or a mil, wherever you're at. You know, there's somewhere, you know, that we're going to be talking about different techniques that, you know, organizations use.
yeah. I mean, the great thing too with Amazing Revenue already is it's already in the black.
Right.
You know,
Right.
which is, for the way I look at it, when you talk about processes, like when you get a business going, it's like, how quickly can I stop losing money?
Right. Right.
You know, and that's good that we're there already. And then
It moved from, it was a sales contract, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Where
turning-
to be sales, and it turned out to be.
they're an awesome company too. The
We
company
love.
the company that we're doing this with is like they're legit. They're a legit company that they're entrusting a lot in us, and you know we want to knock it out of the park for them.
Right, but even a company at that, because they're amazing, you know. And I'm not doing it for the whatever. They're
It's like they're amazing.
No, you know, they're a fantastic representative of their industry, right?
Yeah, I mean,
where they're at.
I mean, the CEO of this company, I would love to have him on here because
Right.
he started off.
Big process
I've met
guy.
him. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
super smart dude. So he started off. We should get him on here actually. See if he'll
Yeah.
come down. But anyway, so he started off with like I met him when there was like 3 people in that company, and you know he helped me build out Salesforce orgs for different businesses down here, and then you know we met back up later on, and I was trying to sell marketing to him, and this whole thing turned into this. And this company's, you know, they got over 60 employees now, and they're beasts. The guy was a door knocker at one time.
Yeah.
Super smart guy, probably one of the best salesmen
It's-
I've met. at least in his industry.
Right. Well,
So,
I mean, you know,
it's a good inspirational story.
you know, and I love to talk to him too. You know, and you know, you see these people that grow because it's so hard. Making a company from nothing to 60 employees. I don't think people you know, unless you're kind of done it before, you know, they're like, oh, well, the CEO makes it's just employees are expensive, man.
And they're a lot of work.
Right. Right.
So yeah, we'll get him on here maybe one day.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Brandon Ward with Paladin Tech. I'm plugging you right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fantastic guys. But, you know, even that, you know, whenever we first negotiated we're like, hey, there's a gap there. You know, we can close it because like I feel confident in building a process up and like tweaking it and like finding out the right spot for these things.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have nobody to talk to, then
I know
it's going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole prospecting thing, great thing about it is there's tons of data out there. So you can always find someone to talk to.
Right.
And we've learned a lot with how to find cell phone numbers, you know, which people love when you call them on their cell phones.
Yeah.
You know, we've learned a lot, man.
Right.
I'm excited. Like we've come a long way pretty quickly with this business, and I'm going to be excited to see where it ends up next year.
Right. And you know, this is not again, you know, it's not a plug for just our business. You know, half of what we're doing here is just incorporating the knowledge from, you know, to me, the two key aspects of like a revenue organization, or, you know, if I hired a revenue person, I would want to know, you know, when does the dollars hit my bank account, you know, and that's fine. How do you intend to attract? Because after a while, you run out of people who's going to buy from you, you know, from referrals.
Yeah, that's
where I'm at.
I mean, they trickle in, and they're great.
Yeah.
Because they're closed. You don't even have to sell.
Right.
It's just like, hey, yeah, come on.
Yeah. So yeah, this has been exciting. You know, we're going to talk about, you know, our revenue journey. You know, we've touched on our backstory a little bit. You know, our next episode's going to be Convention 101, right? And what's your experience? You know, because I want to know, like,
how to zig and zag at a convention.
Yeah, how to zig and how to zag, and then you know, it's not all about you know, part of it is delegation and management. We'll get into all those, you know, sales numbers, baselines, and stuff like that. But ultimately, super excited that you partnered with me on this. And
man. It's gonna be good.
You have anything else you want to say on this this initial?
Said a lot. I've talked a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be partnered with you as well.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's been we haven't worked together. I'm breaking one of my biggest rules is you don't go into business with one of your good friends, because you could lose a business and a friend at the same time. So
yeah.
But this is different, hopefully.
Well, what made you you know? So that's a you know, what made you decide to break that?
Well, because you work like I do. Like
right.
You're obsessed like I am about the business.
Right.
Or about your business, I should say, before we went into business together.
Right.
And that is extremely hard to find in people.
Right.
Like if I felt there was any bit of lazy in you, you know, or like you weren't about the grind.
Right.
I would have just gone on being your friend. That
at a base level.
We need people. You know, it's like when you and I first started doing this together, it was all you in the beginning.
Right.
Because I didn't know, like this whole email marketing, like this whole outbound thing was like it was like a foreign language.
Right.
And so Mike basically was building this whole thing while I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like I just felt like, I basically felt like I didn't belong, you know, because I didn't know what the heck was going on. And then I started to learn and get up to speed. And when we went to, what we'll talk about next episode, when we went to LeadsCon, I mean, it all just came together.
Right.
Everything unlocked, and it was like, okay, and now I see the path forward. Yeah. And now I know where I can contribute, and then now we really start working together. Because really before it was just me talking. I was just calling people because just sales, and you were doing all the
Yeah, well,
the wizardry.
that's the one of my we all have our weaknesses, right? One of my known weaknesses that I know I struggle with is I can get technical to a point to where I do a poor job explaining what's going on, and then I can get, well, why don't you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
see
talking
it.
to smart people
Yeah.
too. So like it's
Yeah,
not
you go down the rabbit hole sometimes.
all the
It's
time.
not. It's not a shot at you.
Yeah, no, no. I very much recognize that, and it's like, hey, I
I
gotta.
do too, though. Sometimes.
Yeah,
So
it's
not alone.
It doesn't matter how good it is if you can't effectively communicate it to someone who can understand and digest what you're doing, because otherwise it means nothing to
Just
them.
confuse the hell out of somebody, and then they're just like,
Confused buyer isn't going to buy.
yeah. Or even if they already bought and they're a client, and you're confusing them. They're like, I have no idea what these guys are doing.
Right, right.
Are they selling me? Do they even know what they're doing?
Right.
Because we just talked for half an hour, and I have no clue what the hell he said.
Yeah. I mean, love those meetings, right?
I've led those meetings before.
Yeah.
I get off the call. I'm like, what was I talking about?
Yeah. Or why did we have that meeting?
Why was I talking about click-through rates? They don't care.
Yeah. Talk about shit that like kind of makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should talk about that sometime. It's
Vanity
like, hey,
metrics versus real metrics.
Yeah. People, it's just a number that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
all right, man. Well, listen. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for listening.
Yeah,
Not
that's-
listen, guys.
Here he goes.
Whatever.
This is the confusing. Ready? He's gonna explain it.
Have a wonderful week.
Oh,
The Amazing Podcast, empowering your bottom line one episode at a time. This is a podcast you quite literally can't afford to miss. You're not going to want to miss next week's episode where we talk about LeadCon Conventions 101. This is Michael Riley with Amazing Tech and Amazing.com. And
JD, LFG Media Group. Thanks for
set.
listening.
Peace.
Peace.